What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage here, loading snacks, snacking and hanging out with the homie
Yo,
Nujoker.
yo, yo.
What it do, fam? How are you, sir?
Much. How you feeling?
Hey, look, man, a little tired. It's been a long day. It's late at night. We're
I
having
feel
a
you.
conversation. This weekend was New York Comic Con.
Comic-Con?
Comic Con, right? We didn't get to go, which sucks.
Boo.
But there was a lot of news, which we knew was going to happen. And we knew if we were there, we wouldn't be able to cover it all anyway. So, having said that, is there anything, before we go into anything specific, is there anything that caught your eye or anything that just has stood out to you over this past weekend that you'd like to share?
Me? The amazing cosplays. Oh, my word.
Yeah. My Instagram has been on fire.
Yes.
I highly recommend that anybody who's watching or anybody who has a chance to see this, you have an Instagram account, go into your Instagram and do a search for hashtag NYCC or for New York Comic Con 2015, or do a search for the Javits Center, Javits Center, which is where New York Comic Con took place. Anybody who has actually marked the location where they took their pictures for their Instagram, you will instantly see tons upon tons of pictorials. So what stood out? What cosplay you see that stood out to you?
For me, there was two, but one took the cake, and that was Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, before we
That
discuss the
one,
Hulkbuster, what was the other one?
the cake, was actually the Thing. I don't know if you peeped the guy with the thing.
I did see that. It was pretty dope. It wasn't no Hulkbuster, though.
It wasn't Hulkbuster, no.
Nah.
Not in any shape or form.
Hulkbuster. Now, I'm going to say this. I saw a lot of Back to the Future.
Yes.
They were giving out the Pepsi Next. They only had I think they only made 1,500 of the Pepsi Next. And they were giving them out at the event, but first come, first serve to people who were cosplaying as characters from Back to the Future. For those of you who don't know, Back to the Future Day is coming up. It is the 21st of October. And what makes that day significant is that the day Marty McFly went to in the future in the movie back in 1985, he went to October 21st, 2015. And so the day is upon us, and Pepsi Next is real. It's official. It's there. I mean, it's just a bottle. Regular Pepsi in it. Doesn't actually have Pepsi Next in it, but that's not the point. Point is, I saw some really, really dope Marty McFlys, saw some really good Doc Browns, and saw some DeLoreans. And that's amazing. Jurassic World had a pretty good showing there. I'm going to tell you what stood out to me, though, announcement-wise. First and foremost, AntMan and the Wasp. I was very excited to hear this announcement. I figured there was going to be another AntMan, but it was still kind of surprising because even though AntMan, from a technical standpoint, did do well in the theaters, in the box office, as far as numbers, it pulled in worldwide, I think 490 million or 410 million or something like that. So it did well. But it didn't do well compared to other Marvel superhero films. If you know what I mean, not compared to, like Iron Man or Captain America, it didn't do those numbers. So, to hear that they were doing another Ant-Man movie, I mean, clearly the end. Look, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
This is your opportunity to fast forward.
Whatever you need to do.
And your time's up. The end credit scene at the end of Ant-Man. I mean, we knew that the Wasp was coming, but it could have very easily been. We also know Ant-Man is going to be in this Captain America Civil War movie. Maybe there was going to be an appearance of Wasp there somewhere, and that maybe was all we were going to get, or maybe we wouldn't see them again other than that until like the next Avengers, the Infinity War movies. So to get an announcement of Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think it's pretty cool. Secondly, the timing for this particular movie. So the movie is coming out in 2018. And not just is coming out in 2018, but like a solid date of July 6th, 2018.
Hey, that one day before my birthday.
Yeah, how about that?
How about that?
Now, remember that you and my youngest daughter have the same birthday.
Fair enough.
So we already know what's happening in 2 years. We're gonna be in the movies. But in order to put this movie where they put it, they pushed back Captain Marvel and they pushed up Black Panther. Black Panther is coming out earlier now. And Captain Marvel got pushed back to 2019, which is interesting. Along with this, I mean, Disney did announce some other movies. We knew that there was another Incredibles coming. That was cool. But they added like another 3 movies to the MCU that don't have
names yet.
So that's really interesting. And it's interesting to see how they plan to work Ant-Man and whatever storyline they're putting with this into the MCU, like how that's actually going to stack up. So I found it interesting because it did some shuffling. Moved it. Did you like Ant-Man?
I enjoyed it. It's like, I guess a lot of people, Ant-Man, I guess you would say, is not your mainstream Well, let me say it this way. Outside of the comics, you wouldn't consider maybe him to be a mainstream person. Like, say how you were saying, your Iron Man, your Spider-Man, all of those characters. So, like us who read comics, we know exactly who Ant-Man is.
Right.
A lot of people probably, when the Ant-Man trailer and Ant-Man movie came out, was kind of like, whoa, this is kind of going in a different direction from your Spider-Man and your Iron Man. We're talking about a guy that can shrink down and become an ant, and he's super strong.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Boom. But otherwise, for like us, seeing it on the big screen was awesome.
Yeah. But
for some people, it was kind of just, what in the world are we seeing here right now?
I mean, I think a lot of people just didn't give it a chance. Ant-Man my opinion is Ant-Man was a great movie. It was a great movie. The action was great. The comedy was great. The writing was great. And it was overall, it was fun. It was a fun movie. It was not big, ridiculous set pieces the way that a Captain America or an Iron Man is. Like, it wasn't like whole cities of destruction, or you know what I mean. But in terms of the action sequences that were there and what did exist, like these Primus had a whole fight inside a briefcase, sort of. And the one-liners were dope. Characters were good, and I think it gives you, because Ant-Man isn't he's not even really a major player in terms of the comic books, at least not now. I mean, there was a time when he was, but he's not. You know what I mean? So, but the dynamic between he and the Wasp, I think, is important. I think that's something to be seen. I think it can be very effective in terms of being useful to the MCU. Having said that, let's talk a little bit about Jessica Jones. Are you familiar with Jessica Jones at all?
A little bit. Now, I will say that, a little bit.
Okay. So we've gotten some teaser trailers and stuff for Jessica Jones. They've made me excited. Jessica Jones being the follow-up show that's going straight to Netflix. after Daredevil. And Daredevil was really gritty for Marvel. So I loved it. Like it was,
I did too.
It was great. Jessica Jones is going to be far grittier than Daredevil. As a character, Jessica Jones. So Jessica Jones basically was the character that was used to boot. Marvel did a stint with a series called Marvel Max in the comics that were comic books that were intended to be for adults. So there was sexual content and there was language and things of that nature within the comic books. And Jessica Jones kind of kicked that off with a book called Alias, which is basically the name of like her detective agency. It's like Alias Detective Agency. And it's a gritty, raw series as far as the comic book is concerned, where Jessica Jones is basically her origin story. You don't get until a little later in the book. You just know that she's this former superhero who has a detective agency, and she dates Luke Cage, sort of. She has a sexual relationship with Luke Cage. She's not technically dating him, I guess. But you find out that she was like in love with Peter Parker in high school, and she was going to tell Peter Parker how she felt, but it was the same day that he got bitten by the spider and became Spider-Man, and she was never able to tell him. And then she was in a car accident with her family, and her family died. And that car accident, she ended up with powers because of that car accident, but she didn't know it. She ended up in a coma. When she woke up from the coma, she was adopted by the Jones family, is how she became Jessica Jones. Her original name was like Jessica Campbell. And then they make fun of her at school. She goes back to school. Flash Thompson like teases her. They call her Coma Girl, stuff like that, whatever. And Peter Parker tries to console her, but she kind of takes it as him trying to make fun of her because he doesn't really remember her. Like, he doesn't remember her from before. He only remembers her after the coma or whatever. So she gets angry and she runs off, and she ends up kind of like flying, sort of. She falls into a river, realizes she kind of has powers, has some extra strength, you know, superhero strength or whatever. And she kind of takes on, becomes a superhero. And in doing so, she goes to like a restaurant, and there are these guys that are having a fight in the restaurant, and the Purple Man is inside the restaurant. And he's controlling these guys, and he basically, when she comes in, he takes control of her, tells her to take off her clothes, and she doesn't because the police show up, and he sends her to go attack the police. So basically, he controls her for a very, very long period of time. He has pure control over her. And this is like, when I say gritty, like, he never actually forces her to have sex with him. He makes her, he forces college girls to have sex with each other and makes her watch them. And like beg him to let her join them. And then when he runs out of college girls, he makes her beg him to have sex with him, but he won't let her. And at one point he gets angry or whatever with the Avengers, and he sends her to go attack, I believe, Iron Man. So she, and he's like, anybody that gets in your way on your way there, go straight to Avengers Mansion, let them have it. And she goes, and the first person she sees is Scarlet Witch. She attacks Scarlet Witch, who at the time is married to Vision. So Vision begins to pummel Jessica Jones, and Captain Marvel saves her because she kind of realizes that she's not in control. And the further she gets away from the Purple Man, the less control he has over her. So she gets rescued, but she ends up in another coma. She comes out of the coma. They kind of realize what happened, offer her a chance to be an Avenger. She turns it down, does the detective agency thing. So that's kind of where the whole thing comes from. And you don't really see her again in the comic books until like Civil War. Like she makes sporadic, kind of, she shows up a little bit. But when I say this joint's going to be gritty, this joint's going to be gritty. And they actually showed the entire premiere episode at the con.
Oh, wow.
And word on the street is, do not let your children watch Jessica Jones for the sex. Like, it gets real in this joint, apparently. And I'm excited. Like I want, you know what I mean? Like I want that gritty Marvel experience. You know, they also showed a teaser for Daredevil season 2 that had Elektra in it briefly and had the Punisher in it. It's about to go down, bruh.
About to go down.
It's about to go downtown. So I'm excited about that. But I also saw there's a new show coming to Sci-Fi called Hunters. See anything about this?
I heard the trailer. I didn't get to watch the trailer. I did hear about it though.
Trailer looks interesting. Basically, it's about an FBI agent whose wife is kidnapped, and apparently there are aliens that live amongst us, and they are doing like terrorist attacks kind of thing. And so the agents that go after them are called Hunters. It looks pretty good. It looks like his wife might be an alien or something, and he doesn't know it.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. I think that's gonna be pretty dope. So what else? What other news did you see, man, coming out of the con that stood out to you?
So I mean, those are some of the big things. Like for me, there was a lot of stuff up there. I wish I could have got my hands on some exclusive stuff that was up there. But the same thing, I had friends on Instagram that were just blowing up, putting pictures of every little thing that they saw going on up there. Some of the, I guess you could say celebrities and everybody that was just randomly in the crowd with everybody, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big wrestling fan. So Corey Graves, who does announcing on NXT, was just randomly there walking around. And, you know, a few people caught him. It was just like, wait. Corey Graves.
Right.
I got a picture.
Like, I know who you are.
But it's just like, you know, so much was just going on, and no one was, it was just like, you could probably, I wouldn't necessarily say even Obama, but someone very high caliber probably could walk through there and you wouldn't have even known it.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I mean, they might have been cosplaying.
Straight up.
I know a lot of people were excited about Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yes, a lot of people.
I think that's gonna be pretty cool, man. Like to see that kind of make its way back. There was a lot of Star Wars, like Star Wars Rebels, new season info, a lot about The Walking Dead, which I know was on this evening. And I think it lasted like an extra half hour. Like it was like, I guess, an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Bonus.
I don't know. I don't watch it. It's not my thing.
I haven't watched.
I'm one of those blasphemers who could care less about The Walking Dead. Like it just didn't. I tried. I watched like the first episode and I was completely turned off. I was just like, this is so predictable, and I don't like it. So that wasn't really my thing. But there's definitely a lot that came out of the con. I mean, for me, the standouts were, you know, it's New York, and that's where almost everything that happens within the Marvel Universe takes place. It takes place in New York.
Yep.
So that's the majority of what we got out of there. I mean, it was, you know, Frank Miller's coming back to do the Dark Knight 3.
Yep.
So that's kind of dope. So I have high expectations for that. as the originator. I know that they announced that they're doing like an Attack on Titan comic, like an anthology comic or something like that. So I think that's pretty dope. There was also something, the Shannara Chronicles or something like that, and I don't know what that is, but I saw a lot of stuff about it. I just didn't have a chance to catch up on it. But I know that there were panels for Supergirl. I know that Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubin, coming back as the Penguin's father in Gotham. Which, you know what, man? I don't. Have you watched Gotham at all?
I've started, but I have yet to just be able to go back and finish it through. Okay. Like I'm through maybe half of season 1 probably.
Okay.
And I've just honestly, like, it was on the same time that Arrow, The Flash was, and I was binge watching those on Hulu, but for whatever reason, I just never went back to Gotham.
I mean, to be honest with you, I can't really be mad at you for watching those as opposed to Gotham. It's all technically the same universe, different channels. Not the same universe, but they're all DC.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know what? There's something I really like about Gotham. I am a Batman fan, but I feel like Batman is played out right now. Like, I just feel like kind of getting really good behind the scenes. The thing about Batman is Batman he has corny villains, but he has some of the most interesting villains in terms of like who they are and where they come from. And I think that there's a lot to explore in terms of background stories, you know, whatever with those characters. And so I think it's interesting to get a really good kind of early look at like what and who the Joker is or was. Edward Nygma, you know, being the Riddler, but being actually working for the police force first, having a relationship with Commissioner Gordon, you know, early on in his career. I just kind of like those tropes, you know what I mean? And the show itself is kind of gritty. So I like that too. I think Fox was the right place for that show. And I think it's just gotten better. Like what I've seen so far from the second season, it gives you good reason to, I think, to stay tuned. So I would recommend finish out binge watching what you have. It's on Netflix now too. So yeah. I would recommend finish binge watching it, man, and then catch up with the season. Because before you know it, it's gonna be way too deep into Flash and Arrow, and it just ain't gonna happen. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. But yeah, man, I mean, I'd say all in all, we got some really good announcements out of the Comic-Con. Definitely saw a lot of great cosplay. Definitely saw a lot of people having a good time. A lot of really great artwork that I saw get posted from people. So yeah, man, I am sad we missed it, like in person. But I don't plan on letting that happen next year.
I'm right there with you.
You know what I'm saying? So unless you got something else specific you want to rap about, man, I think we'll wrap it up.
Gotcha. I mean, other than that, I mean, Comic-Con was the big piece of it. I'm trying to think if I got anything to throw in right now.
Nah, got that announcement of that Naruto Shippuden 4.
Oh, you know me. I'm getting that day one.
I know you are, bruh.
Getting that day one.
Yeah, I ain't a huge fan of those games, but that joint looks incredible. Like, that joint looks like the show. So yeah.
With this one, it's supposed to wrap up the Storm generation.
Yeah.
Until we see how far or what they're gonna do else with the show or the series and how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But this is definitely gonna be a nice little wrap up. I mean, just with a couple of exclusives that are gonna be on there for you guys that actually watch Naruto. So Itachi Shisui, I always say his name wrong. They're actually gonna have perfect Susanos, and if you guys know, they didn't actually have them in the manga or the show. So this is something that was made exclusively for the game that everybody's going to get to see. Same thing. Kakashi's going to have one as well. He got the Sharingan from Obito, so he actually has both Sharingans in the game at one point. So you actually get to see his perfect one as well too.
Ugh. That's kind of crazy. Speaking of games, I did see some more info on the Lego Avengers.
I saw that trailer today.
Man, that joint. First of all, Lego games, they're incredible. The only issue I have with Lego games, it's not the only issue. The biggest issue I have with Lego games is the lack of online play. It's 2015. It's time to step it up. They did it on one game. The other thing is I hate that dynamic split screen. That joint drives me crazy.
Oh, God.
But I didn't realize. I mean, I knew it was Lego event. First of all, it has a very weird release date because it comes out in January, and that's not normal. Most games don't do January.
No.
So that to me says Lego just tried to space out some time between Lego Dimensions and Lego Avengers. And it also says to me that they want to get a hold of that. I got cash for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, come spend your holiday money
on the Avengers Legos.
But I didn't realize that game is Avengers 1 and 2, Iron Man 3,
Captain America
Winter Soldier, Thor, the Thor 2, and it has content from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the show, and from Agent Carter, the show. And the joint has double team moves, like Ultimate Event, like Ultimate Alliance.
That one.
Oh, like Thor's hammer on Captain America's shield, knock everybody down kind of moves, and that I'm excited about. So that's a definite cop. Like Lego games are dope. They kind of get a little old. I don't necessarily buy them all right away like I used to. Like I still haven't bought Jurassic Park. They just put a demo out for that, so I did get the demo, and I'm probably gonna end up buying it. But that joint, that's a day one. That is a day one. So other than that, man, I didn't see too much in terms of games. A little bit of stuff, little Just Cause stuff, stuff like that. But that was about it, man. So yeah, I do believe we are in a safe place to wrap it up. My good man, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me this evening on this hangout. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Yeah, check my man Nujoker out on Instagram, Nujoker89. Check him out on Twitter, Nujoker89. Follow the kid, man. See what he's up to. Shoot some good pictures. And you can follow me, Empty Shells. That's Instagram. That's Twitter. That's the gamer tag. M-space.
Gamer tag on my side too.
So give me a shout, give me a holler. Let's run some Destiny, play some games, have a good time. And with that, we are out.